WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Today I'm in Scotland, better said I'm in Glasgow, Scotland, at the 1770 Glasgow Single Malt Scotch Whisky 2019 release. Ooh. This is not the release number 1 where there was only 5,000 bottles. This is release number 2 where there were more bottles. I actually bought this bottle through the Scotch Whisky auction, I think it's called. I paid 49 euros for it, which means it's translated into 49 pounds, 59 euros, which translates into maybe about $70. Now, I had to pay, of course, packaging, and also I had to pay for the comfort, the exchange rate and so on. That's why that happened there. All right, so the end of 2019, you can look forward to the peated variant on the bottling of the 1770 Glasgow distillery. And what I'm looking forward to is 2020, the triple distilled. Now, Liam Hughes is the CEO, and he, together with his partner, Mike Haymond, actually got together and decided to start up a distillery. They came from the craft brewing movement, they were looking to the States and saw, wow, from the craft brewing, we turned to the craft distilling. Hey, let's do this over here. And so they decided to start up the first craft distillery in Glasgow in over 100 plus years. They added Ian McDougall there to the team. He's an accountant, so they had a good guy there. This is a 50 cl bottle. It looks a little bit bigger, but it's not. Whiskey base number 128130. And this was actually aged in ex-bourbon barrels and then finished in a virgin oak barrel. Now, Glasgow Distillers, they started 2014. And they're famous, or they're well known for their Makar, M-A-K-A-R, oak-aged corn. Now, I decided to compare this to Kingsbarn Lowland Single Malt Scotch Whisky, which is also a very, very similar story. 2014, 2013, they started the distillery. This is the very, very first release, basically, of a real bottling. And it's lowland whiskey. Glasgow belongs also to the lowland region. So this is exactly right. Limited edition, non-chilled filtered, 46%. Everything's right here. Now, they have at the Glasgow Distillery copper pot stills. This is double distilled. They name the copper pot stills after their daughters. Annie is the gin still, and there's Tara. And there is a Marai, M-H-A-I-R-I. This was distilled on those two stills, and they basically have a 24/7 production time at the moment. They have 8 different distillers on site. They have 1 cooper now actually looking after the casks. Please, please, please do not confuse Glasgow Distillery with Clydeside Distillery in Glasgow. They were first. The very, very first distillery in over 100 years to open up in Glasgow. Now, maybe you remember something called the Prometheus 2627. These bottlings were also produced, or at least bottled and also then released by them. And what's very, very interesting, last but not least, is they have a capacity at the moment of 250,000 liters per year. They actually were able to gather further funding of $6 million, basically by private investors, by private cask offerings, as well as going to the bank, the local bank. And now they will be expanding their capacity from 250 to 500 liters per year, and that would actually be 1 million bottles a year you can expect here from the 1770 Glasgow Distillery. All right, so let's try these. This is a very, very interesting nose. If you actually gave this to me, I would not say, oh, it's a young whiskey. It's got a little bit of like a mature, almost over mature pear moment combined with a little bit, tiny little bit of a caramel toffee moment, some wood in there, a little bit of alcohol, and what I really get is this fabulous virgin oak vanilla. If you've had the Deanston virgin oak, if you had the Ben Riach virgin oak, if you had some other things, Scotch whiskey with the virgin oak, that really just comes through and you get that nose relative quickly. In comparison over here, we have STR casks at King's Barnes, shaved, toasted, and recharred. Dr. Jim Swan actually created this system being used in Taiwan by Kavalan as well as by Coswalls in England, and also King's Barnes here in Scotland. A lot more of a milk acid, a lot more of a citrus acid in there. There's the pH level just seems to be much, much higher in the King's Barn than over here, which I like here for the 1770 Glasgow distillery. All right, Sláinte. Nice nose, nice nose. Mmm. Mmm. Ooh, at the end there's a lot of burn. It is still a little bit of a young whiskey. Now, I played around with this whiskey in my German video, and I found something out. This whiskey loves water. So we're going to do one of two things first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to dilute it down to about 43, 42%. Try it again. First of all, the nose opens up. I get a little bit of cinnamon. I get a little bit of like an overripe melon as well. Matches the overripe pear I mentioned before. And a little bit of that toffee fey, a little bit of caramel, maybe even a touch of butterscotch, of creme brulee. Mmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. This is not old, but it would fool me. Oh yeah, especially when you dilute it down to that 30, 42, 30, 43%. It was a tiny little push of a little bit of alcohol towards the end. Very, very velvety feeling. A lot of, I like how they wrote on the description here. They talked about it being new filled ex-bourbon cask. We have a finished in a virgin oak, and it says here there's I was reading this the other day. Yes, smooth, fruity, and complex. Smooth, fruity, complex. That's all they are. And I gotta admit, that's almost right. It's very, very good. And now, a good sign of a great whiskey, emphasizing great, is what I'm going to do now. Is I'm going to purposely dilute this down to 28-30%. 1 second. A really great whiskey holds up to that. I've had whiskeys where I just kill them. They just become water and there's nothing there. This still has so much complexity, which really, really amazes me. Even the nose now, it's still turning into a wonderful, I get a little bit of barrel char. I put more water than there's alcohol in there. And it's still just giving and giving and giving. This whiskey has a lot to offer. And do not, like I was the very first time, do not be shocked by its intensity, but rather discover the nuances of the whiskey, add a little bit of water, play with it, and find out how much of a depth and how much of a variety is in this whiskey. Mmm. 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 I actually have pears covered, and this is, like I said, 30% or less. Pears covered in a chocolate caramel sauce. I'm liking this whiskey more and more. It's really, really nice. Just the Kingsbarn as an example, I like this as well. Totally different beast. What really, really surprises me is the amount of citrus acidity that I combine, that I get off this one. From the palate to the nose to the finish, there's a lot of like a high pH value here, at least in comparison to the 1770 Glasgow Distillery second release. In my German video, I gave this a C+. I'm going to go all the way up to the C++ by B category. I think there's a lot of potential here for the 1770 Glasgow Distillery. I like this. This is really, really good. That virgin oak is really, really there on the nose. It really supplements and complements everything going on in the glass. You dilute it down, it just keeps on giving. Great whiskey, not at 46%. As Ralphie does, put a teaspoon of water in there, enjoy it, it's going to be perfect. And that's what I'm going to say here. It's a little bit, at this age, too complex to enjoy. WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, totally at the bottle strength. But you bring it down a little bit, it really just mellows out and turns into something which is fabulous. All right, value for money, I'm going to give a solid C. Now, I'm part of history here. This is the second release ever for a new distillery. Unfortunately, I think I might actually have a sample of the first release someplace here, but I'm not going to dig it out. I have the whole bottle this time, yay. And I love the bottle design. Glasgow Distillery, almost like Hibiki with the little lines in here. Great feeling. Heavy bottle, well done. It doesn't feel like a 0.5. It feels like a 0.7. Excellent thing. Thank you very much that I could be able to buy this bottle, bring it over here to Germany, taste it, and share it with friends. Whiskey isn't whiskey until it's shared, Roy says, from Whiskey Aquavite. All right, my question of the day is, now we have the Kingsbarns, we have then the 1770 Glasgow Distillery, we have the Clydeside. I want to ask specifically about all the new distilleries that have opened up or are opening up in the next 10 years in the lowland region. That's what really, really excites me here about Glasgow Distillery. They're doing a triple distilled, a distillation which is characteristic for the lowland regions, triple distillation, not even just Auchentoshan, but others did it as well. What other distilleries do you know that are opening or have opened up in the lowland regions in the last 10 years? WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany, tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Thank you very much for watching. Please like, please subscribe. Please tell others about this crazy guy over here in Europe tasting stuff you might never see. All right, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I publish my videos. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.